Okay, so video number 2 from my sports nutrition class on dietary protein. So we eat 20 amino acids. The body uses 20 amino acids. All of human biology, all of animal biology, all of the planet is using 20 amino acids to build proteins. We need 9. Now, other animals may only need 7. It just depends on the species, etc. But we need 9 essential amino acids. I'm not going to have you learn their names, and that's a great thing to learn in biochemistry class. Now, the way the body makes proteins, not every cell in the human body can make a protein. It has to have a nucleus, right? That's got the building block, the blueprint for making proteins for the liver cell, for the kidney cell. But it usually starts, everything on Earth is going to make a dietary protein that uses proteins. Even plants have proteins. So the way you do it is you take one amino acid, you attach it to another amino acid. Right then you get a lot of variety because it's 1 of 20 attached to 1 of 20. And you get this new thing called a dipeptide. And that's kind of like the first possible amino acid, a protein that you could make. And believe it or not, there is a protein that is a dipeptide. Thyroxine, the human thyroid hormone that maintains our metabolic rate, is important for development during pregnancy and things like that. Thyroxine is actually just a 2 amino acid molecule. Side note, it's tyrosine and 4 iodines. That's where you need iodine in your metabolic pathways to make the thyroid hormone, thyroxine. If you add another amino acid, we start calling that a polypeptide. Well, actually, there's a term called an oligopeptide. But most protein molecules are made up of many amino acids, not 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but 20, 30, 50, 60. Here's insulin. Insulin's made up of, I think, 52 amino acids. And when the pancreas makes insulin, there's another piece that falls off. It's called the C-peptide. So the actual length of insulin when it's made in the pancreas is longer than 52 amino acids. This one piece kind of falls off, like pepsinogen becomes pepsin in the stomach and breaks down protein. And then you have insulin, and there it is. There's not every amino acid may be representative here. Notice how it has a very specific shape. Cysteine is one of the amino acids that uses the element sulfur and makes these little bridges. These are called disulfide bridges. You don't need to know chemistry, and so it has a very unique shape. That shape is dictated by what's in this long strand. Like an Italian charm bracelet, maybe 2 charms next to each other would make your bracelet be crooked in a certain way or bend in a certain way. When you start to line up amino acids, some will attract to others. And so the actual sequence in which every amino acid is laid out, according to our DNA, ends up being the blueprint for the shape of the protein. So here's a good example, making hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is made up of 4 individual subunits. Here's one of the subunits. I think a subunit is 574 amino acids. So, the bone marrow cells will take 574 amino acids, it'll make a strand of them, and you can learn about that in biochemistry. They fold, and then they meet up with 3 other ones. Voila. So I believe this is iron, 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 and iron, and then oxygen sits in the middle. Ta-da, hemoglobin. If you had some sort of genetic issue where you did not have the right instructions, and one of the 574 amino acids in your hemoglobin subunit it was like the wrong amino acid because DNA said to use the wrong amino acid, right? You have a genetic mutation. That can change the shape of the hemoglobin. That can change the ability of the hemoglobin to hold on to oxygen. And over here on the slide, this is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is really a mutation in the hemoglobin, and it affects the ability of the red blood cells to hold on to oxygen, and it changes the entire shape of the red blood cells. So extremely interesting stuff, really outside the scope, though, of a sports nutrition class. It's something you should really learn in a biochemistry class. For us, we're worried about making sure that we get our 9 amino acids, right? So if you look for those 9 amino acids with which we're going to build proteins of many different shapes, you've got different options. You've got plant versus animal, and then and you usually say that animal is a greater quality than, let's say, plant. And the reason why we would say that animal might be a better quality than plant. One, a really good quality protein will have all 9 amino acids. There may not be a lot of each amino acid, but at least they're all present in some amount. That's kind of the first thing. There are some animal products that are very low in one or two of the essential amino acids. So they're not all considered perfect. I'll explain what perfect is in a second. But that's the first thing. You have to at least have most of, if not all, the 9 essential amino acids with which we use to build these long strands that fold into crazy shapes, right? The second question is digestibility. If you eat it, can you break it down? Animal generally is more digestible than plant. That's a fact. Plants have fiber and all sorts of other things going on. And so, anywhere from 90 to 99% digestible. Milk is pretty much completely digestible, milk protein. Egg protein is pretty much completely digestible. By the way, milk should be. That's what mammals give their offspring, right? Now, soy protein is in itself probably not very well digestible, but soy protein isolate is different. That is somewhere at a company, they took soybeans, they kind of boiled them up, they mechanically churned them up, and then they strip out all the protein and put it into your infant formula, your bodybuilding protein supplements. Hey, there's no problem about digestibility. They went and digested it for you. So soy protein isolate actually has a very high digestibility. Yes, it's a plant, but they've gone ahead and got rid of all the plant concerns for you at a factory. The ones that we call perfect, and don't yell at me, I know some of you are vegan and vegetarian, this is just the messenger telling you what we believe, are egg and milk. Egg is almost completely digestible. Milk is almost completely digestible, the egg protein. And then if you ask, are all 9 essential amino acids in the milk or in the egg? They are. And of each one, there's a lot. Okay. Plant's a little different. Plant is less digestible. Plants are usually missing or have really low amounts of amino acids. In plants, we worry about either methionine, which is one of the amino acids, or lysine. Usually it's grains are missing lysine, but have methionine. And I think beans are missing methionine, but have lysine. But either way. And so they're usually less digestible and they're less likely to have all 9 essential amino acids and a lot of them. But again, a lot of the soy products have been chemically manipulated in the laboratory to already be kind of pre-digested. And so the last thing I want to end on is, yes. Okay, I'm going to end there because this is getting long and we'll start on video number 3.